Welcome to this explainer. If you've spent any time at all navigating guild dynamics in MMOs, you already know the massive headache it is to balance competitive play, right? I mean, it usually just ends in tears, drama, or, honestly, sheer boredom. But today, we're diving into how the Immortal Realm uses these incredibly powerful relics to totally reshape PvP. We're talking about turning absolute chaos into pure, structured brilliance.
Here is our game plan for today. First, we'll look at fixing guild PvP, then walk through the 6 relic states, check out the high-risk carry phase, break down how guild raids actually work, and wrap up with the brilliant 30-day fade clock.
Alright, part 1. Fixing guild PvP and creating meaningful conflict.
To really get why relics matter, you have to look at the problem they solve. Random ganking. You know the drill. Those frustrating ad hoc encounters where high-level players just ambush you while you're minding your own business. It doesn't create a story, it just breeds toxicity. Without a real system, guild PvP mostly devolves into random street brawls. But relic warfare, that flips the script. It takes that chaos and structures it into a named contest with massive public stakes. Now, you've got scheduled raids and clear mechanics. Every action actually builds your guild's history. It's literally the difference between a messy alleyway scuffle and a high-stakes Grandmaster chess match.
There's a quote from the system design that hits the nail right on the head. It says, "A static, first skill to find one wins forever model would be boring. The fade system ensures every relic eventually returns to play." And honestly, that is absolutely crucial. Imagine logging in and one mega guild has just hoarded the best gear for 5 years straight. You'd log right back out. Permanent ownership completely kills competition. So the system ensures these artifacts are always moving, always contested, and constantly driving massive player interaction.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 6 relic states, or the life cycle of an artifact.
Okay, so every single relic follows a really strict 6-step chronological life cycle. First, it starts out wild, just hidden out there in the massive world waiting to be found. Once a qualified player tracks it down, it instantly shifts to recovered. But you can't just fast travel home. No, it has to be physically carried across the map. Once you survive that and formally install it at your guild hall, it becomes seeded. But wait, you're not safe yet. If you don't actively defend it, the relic starts fading. And if you totally neglect it, it's released. Poof, gone, right back into the wild to start the whole crazy cycle over again.
Now here is the kicker that makes this entire system so ridiculously tense. There are a maximum of 3 persistent relics on the server at any given time. Yes, you heard that right, just 3. We are not talking about generic loot that respawns in a cave every 5 minutes. Holding one of these gives your guild insane perks, sweeping gathering bonuses, massive defensive buffs, you name it. That absolute, uncompromising scarcity. That is what makes the prestige so fiercely contested.
Which brings us to Section 3, the high-risk carry and what it takes to transport these things.
Transporting a newly recovered relic is basically an adrenaline-fueled tactical op. The second you pick it up, you are publicly marked. You become a giant glowing target for literally every rival player online. If you get intercepted and killed, the relic drops, goes back to recovered, and now your attackers have it. It's brutal math. The longer you're out there, the exponentially higher your risk of losing the whole shebang. You can't just run blindly, you've got to plant escorts, send out decoys, and map out some seriously tactical routes through dangerous terrain. And just to make this carry phase even more terrifying, let me introduce you to the Velvet Hand. This is an in-game order with a built-in ability to actually sense a relic moving across the map in real time. Think of it as high fantasy GPS tracking. Rival guilds will drop an absolute fortune to hire these scouts. So while you're desperately trying to sneak this artifact home, taking off-road paths in the dead of night, they are tracking your exact location and selling it. It turns a standard transport run into this unbelievably stressful, paranoid game of cat and mouse.
Let's transition to Section 4, Guild Raids Explained. This is scheduled warfare.
Okay, so you survived the run and seeded the relic. Awesome. Enjoy the server-wide perks, but guess what? You've just painted a permanent, massive target on your guild hall's front door. The good news is the game doesn't just let people offline wipe your base at 3 a.m. It uses incredibly strict rules. To declare a raid, attackers need a minimum of 3 guild members, plus a Velvet Hand member at sleeve rank or higher to craft the raid deeds. Once declared, there's a tight 5-minute formation window to scramble, and then the battle is locked into a highly specific 15-minute breach window. Plus, a hall can only be raided once every 14 days. It's perfectly structured so you can actually prepare and genuinely enjoy defending your hard-earned prize.
Because of this structure, defending your hall is entirely voluntary.
When that 15-minute window opens, you can muster your forces and fight tooth and nail, or just walk away, save your gear, and take the L. Random ganking outside this specific window won't transfer the relic at all. If the attackers win the breach, the relic goes to recovered, and now they have to do the terrifying carry phase. But if the defenders hold the line, or the attackers just chicken out and don't show, you keep the relic and your Fade Clock pressure completely resets.
And speaking of that Fade Clock, let's hit Section 5, the 30-day Fade Clock, the game's anti-hoarding engine.
So you might be wondering, what's to stop an untouchable Mega Guild from just dominating those scheduled raids, frightening everyone away, and holding a relic forever without lifting a finger again? How does the game actually force these powerhouses to stay active?
Well, it all comes down to a meticulously designed mechanic that aggressively punishes passive hoarding. A seeded relic operates on a strict 30-day life cycle. If a guild isn't actively defending it, by day 23 the relic forcibly enters a visual fading state. This is essentially a giant neon sign broadcasting to the whole server, hey, this guild's grip is slipping. By day 30, it is released. It completely breaks free, vanishes from the hall, enters a hidden 48-hour respawn pool, and pops back up as a wild relic somewhere else entirely. The guild just loses it, plain and simple.
And get this, sustained inactivity doesn't just let the clock run out, it actually speeds the fade up. And there is no simple pay gold to a vendor button here. To halt the fade, a guild has to prove its worth. You have to demonstrate active presence, get deeply involved in civic engagement, participate in orders, and show an undeniable willingness to fight when those 15-minute raid windows open up. Basically, if you want the power, you literally have to play the game.
Taking a step back, it's wild how this incredible ecosystem gives every single type of player a tangible purpose. It gives massive guilds a reason to utilize their halls and engage with the broader server. It gives us a highly structured reason to declare raids, which builds real, memorable rivalries. It even creates a super lucrative market for solo players who want to act as Velvet Hand scouts in the shadows. It takes what could easily be a toxic, random PvP mess and transforms it into this incredibly deep, strategic Game of Thrones.
Ultimately, because that Fade Clock is always ticking, the system guarantees that every single artifact will, eventually, slip from your grasp. Passive players will undoubtedly lose it to time, and even the fiercest defenders will one day get breached by a better team. So the real question isn't how long you can hide in a fortress hoarding power. The question is, knowing your immense hold is strictly temporary, what kind of legacy will your guild choose to leave on the Immortal Realm while you have it?